Good afternoon and happy Saturday to you. Dr. Preston R. Winfrey here, R as in Ray. And what a blessing it is to be here, to be alive, to be clothed in my right mind with a reasonable portion of health and strength, the activity of all my limbs, eyes I'm able to see with, I'm able to hear with my ears, still able to chew food on my own and swallow. And I guess the short of the long is I know that I'm blessed, and I'm thankful to the Lord for this marvelous opportunity that He's given me. 2 hours a little later, but I'm here. And I did put a message on stating that I would not be able to get on until 5. And so here we are, as we said we would. So, with those out of the way, how are you doing? I hope that you're doing well. And just for a moment, I'm going to have a blue screen here. There is a reason for that. Let me see if we can fix that. There we go. All righty. I knew that was coming up. Pardon me for that small interruption. But at any rate, I was asking you how you're doing. Hope that you've had a great week. And you may have had some challenges. You may have had some struggles. Someone I know been babysitting all week. And they're probably getting a break at this point. And I know that we always pause to just acknowledge how blessed we are. And you know, it takes a real good person to understand and know that you are blessed. You know, God has a way of blessing us and doing for us what we cannot do on our own. And that sort of brings me to my subject that I want to talk about today, and that is take up your bed. Take up your bed. You know, I read in the Bible there in the Gospel of John, the words of John as he told of a time when there was a man who was at the pool, lying there for years on top of years, total of 38 years, and just as an invalid, you know, can't help it, but for some reason he made his way by hook or crook to that pool, and he'd wait around for the blessing of the angel to come and on an annual basis to stir that water. And there was healing, and so many people with all sorts of sicknesses and diseases were laid at that pool. And of course, everyone was waiting for the movement of the water. And whoever gained entrance into the pool first come, you know, first served. And this man, you know, all these years that he'd been hanging around there, nothing had happened. Well, it didn't happen because he never got in the pool. But he was laying on his mat, his pallet, if you will. That was his bed. And, you know, people would see him, no doubt, and maybe give him some handouts, but the man wanted healing. And I look around today, there's a great number of people who remind me of that man that is in the Gospel of John. You know, you'll find it in chapter 5, who find themselves down and out. No, as far as they can see, no possible way of pulling themselves up. Deliverance is nowhere in view. You know, money is always funny. Strength is always gone. Hope does not exist. Some have gone from some hope to no hope, and a bunch of reasons or excuses why they're in the predicament that they're in. Now, I do know that some situations are systemic, but there are some things that perhaps we found ourselves in. Maybe it wasn't necessarily our fault or we were the cause for it. But the question is there something you can do about your predicament, the situation you're in? Of course, you can despise the situation you're in. You can hate it. So many people do. They say, oh, I just hate where I'm at. I hate this journey that I'm on. And I wish things could be different. Well, I believe that it starts with a wish, wishing that things could be better. But then you also have to go beyond a wish. You have to maybe start dreaming and maybe change your expectations, as opposed to saying it's going to always be this way and everyone else is so much better than I am and I can never get a break. I'll never get a break. Don't you know some people like that? They just, for some reason or the other, do not see themselves changing. They don't see their situation changing. They just stuck. And what do you do? How do you help a person who's stuck and content that they are stuck? Oh, you have some relatives like that. Some parents have some children like that. Some parents are that way. There are people in life who are in a situation and deem themselves stuck for the rest of my life this way. I'm going to be this way until I die. And the tragedy to that is perhaps they've lost their hope. They have no vision. Their aim is low. They don't see themselves doing better. And even sometimes when you offer to them some suggestions on how perhaps they could better themselves, it's saddening to hear them say, I've tried everything. Nothing is going to change. And I'm not totally convinced that a person like that has tried everything, because there's always a way out. You may have knocked on a lot of doors, but maybe the door that you neglected to knock on, maybe behind that door is the opportunity that you've been hoping for. There comes a time in life when we just have to stretch ourselves, go beyond the norm, go further than we were really willing to go. We set goals. We say, you know what? I'm not going to go any further than that mile point. And what if what you need and what you desire is a mile and 1 block? Just think, you would have traveled a whole mile and all you had was 1 more block to go. And now, guess what? Your breakthrough does not take place because you quit. You quit too soon. Some people are just angry. They're angry in life. They're angry with people. They're angry with the system. They're angry with whoever they can be angry with. In other words, they're saying, listen, it's not my fault I'm this way. It's their fault. And I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this to happen to me. But can I honestly share with you? There's always a way of escape. Yes, there is. There is a way of escape. There is something more that you really can do. Sometimes a person don't explore all their options. You've heard people talk about relationships. Oh, this relationship soured, therefore I'll never trust another man. I'll never trust another woman. Listen, maybe that person injured you. That person disappointed you. That person frustrated you. But you know, if you take care of yourself and be good to yourself and keep your hopes alive and your dreams and your visions alive and relevant, you know, sometimes you have to keep things just 100. And just say to yourself, you know what? It's got to get better. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to rest until it gets better. Someone said it gets greater later. Well, listen, sometimes you just have to have a made up mind that, you know, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to throw in this towel. And even if you threw in the towel, one of the beauties of life is you can go pick that towel up, pick it up, wash it off, and begin to reuse that towel and say, you know what? I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to quit it. And then I know I can get it. You know, you have to have a made up mind. You can't allow people and situations and circumstances to reign on your visions and your dreams. I know so many people who say, well, a lot of people say I'm not going to make it and I don't think I'm going to make it, so I quit. Game over. I'm out. My friend, may I encourage you today, don't quit. Don't give in too soon. Make up in your mind that this situation that I'm in, this situation that I'm lying on, this pallet that I've been laying on. Let's go back and look at this man. For 38 years, and he never got into that pool. What was wrong? What was to keep him? If he knew annually that the angel was coming to trouble the water, don't you think that he would have at least moved a little closer? Instead of praising everyone else, and I know they're going to jump over me. They're going to leap over me. When the angel comes, well, listen, if you know the angel is coming, then you ought to do something to make sure that you're recognized. You know you're in a race and you're saying, oh, but I'm competing against fast runners. Then maybe you need to start earlier. If you're a person who's prone to being late all the time, say, well, you know, I get up at 7. I got to be there at 9. And if you don't get there until 9:30, maybe you might want to get up a half hour sooner than 7. Try getting up at 6:30. Oh, that's too early to get up. Well, you have to make the sacrifice. You have to ask yourself, what is it that I want? What do I want to accomplish? What is my goal? And if your goal is to be successful, then you must do whatever it takes to be successful. So if it means saying, you know what, I'm going to go to bed a half hour earlier so I don't miss my sleep, I'm going to get up. I'm going to set the alarm so that I can get up. I know how long it takes me to wash up. I know how long it takes me to dress. I'm going to do this. I can do it. And surprise yourself. But if you're one who is accustomed to making excuses and then justifying why you didn't do, why you can't do, why others are always more successful than you, then if what you've been doing and you keep practicing that, it's insane for you to think that you're going to get better. So you have to be willing. You have to be daring. This man that is talked about in the 5th chapter of the Gospel of John, on his pallet, his bed, 38 years. I don't know what the man's story was. I don't know what doctors he saw, if any. But what I do know is he never got in the pool. And his thinking was, I have to get into this pool in order to be set free from my paralysis. But one day, Jesus shows up and he interviews this man. Now we're talking about after the angel had stirred the water. And this man, no doubt, is thinking, oh boy, it's going to be another year being on this mat, another year of getting people to transport me here and there. And every place he went, he was an invalid. So Jesus walks up to him and asks him, do you want to be made whole? A logical question. And no doubt this man is probably thinking within himself, now who is this guy? Who is this Johnny come lately asking me if I want to be made whole? Why would he think I'm here at the pool if I didn't want to be made whole? You know how we can be. We become defensive. And especially when we have not done those things that we could do, right? You know I should have did this, and how dare you now come and challenge me on this? Jesus said, do you want to be made whole? You know what the man, he just went off saying, hey, I don't have nobody. Jesus, I didn't ask you if you had anyone. I don't have no relatives, no friends, no one. Jesus said, I didn't ask you that. He said, every time I get ready to get in the pool, when the angel comes on an annual basis, someone leaps in over me. Jesus said, can you answer my question? What was your question? Do you want to be made whole? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of being angry? Are you tired of being sick? Are you sick of being sick? And are you tired of being tired? Well, yeah. Do you want to be made whole? Well, deep in my heart, but I don't know if that's possible because, I'm going to have to. Do you want to be made whole? I'm not asking you about a formula here. I'm not asking you to wait 364 days. I'm asking you today, do you want to be made whole? And finally, this man said, yes. And Jesus said, then get up. He said, but look at me. Jesus said, get up. He said, do you know how long I've been lying here? Do you know how long I've been on? Jesus said, get up. And the man said, are you serious? I can hear Jesus saying, I didn't stutter. So the man gets up and he amazes himself. You know what? You can amaze yourself. You would be amazed by the things you can do, by the places you can go, about the things you could have. We imprison ourselves with an I can't mentality. I can't learn. I can't change. I can't do anything different. I can never go there. I can never travel. I could never have a nice house. I could never live in harmony. You never know what you can do until you're willing to step out of your comfort zone and come up off of the excuse that you've been lying on. This man used his bed all these years. Can you imagine what that bed was saying? Bruh, I'd be glad when you do get up. You've been laying on me a long time. The imprint is here to prove that you've been lying here all these years. This man got up at the words of Jesus and looked and said, I can't believe it. Jesus said, believe it. And the man started to walk away, and Jesus said, hold on, brother. Take your bed up. You've been laying on this, and there's probably going to be a line of people who's going to be waiting to use the same excuse that you have used all these years. Take your bed and then walk. And I'm saying to you, take up your bed today. What have you been relying upon? What have you been using as your alibi? What have you been using to justify your anger and your frustration and your madness? What have you been using? Reason why you cannot get ahead in life. Why you have not done better than you've done. I'm here to tell you, Jesus came through 42 generations so that we might have life and that we might have it more in abundance. What are you doing today? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your situation? Oh, I know there are some things that happen to all of us that we have no control over. But you have to process things, and you have to be willing to say, you know what? I'm not going to stay in the shape I'm in. I may be here right now. Things are going to change. I'm going to change. I want better. This man, at the word of Jesus, he got up, surprised himself, amazed himself. And then Jesus said, you have more strength than you know. Walk. And the man started to walk. He said, but before you walk, exercise your muscles. Pick up your bed. He did. Now go. And I want to encourage you today, on this Saturday, take up your bed and walk. Go beyond being angry, mad, disappointed. You've gone through a separation, a divorce, gone through the loss of a job, loss of a home, loss of a loved one, loss of employment. I want to tell you, that's not the end of the world. Take it from someone who's been there and who has done some of that. And God is no respecter of persons. It's no secret what God can do. What he did for others, he can do for you. This is Dr. Winfrey saying, God loves you, and I love you. And I encourage you on this day, pick up your bed and walk. Have a great and a glorious rest of today and a great day on tomorrow.